Hi, this is Adele from Naked Marriage. I want to talk about how important it is to not marry the underfunctioning person. What do I mean by that? Well, I have quite a few client scenarios, couples that I've worked with through our marriage program, Spark, where I see the person marrying somebody that is completely underfunctioning and incapable. And it's kind of a sad dynamic because it leads to codependency. And I know that a lot of codependency kind of texts and concepts out there on the internet are all around codependency being associated to marrying someone with an addiction or marrying somebody that is out of control or ADHD or whatever the thing is. But it can be as simple as marrying somebody that is just not at your level, either intellectually, financially, or incapability as a person. And we tend to get in relationships with people like that when we have a belief that we cannot date any higher than that. A belief that, I'm not able to find somebody that's at my station. And if I did, that person wouldn't stick around for me. They'd find out who I am and kind of want to date somebody more amazing than me. So we date down. And whenever that happens, I see the same patterns play out. The client that I had, we had this conversation last week. Another couple was the week before then. All these situations where people had married an underfunctioning person and were trying to get that person to function or to change. And it's just not an effective strategy. I mean, our approach, we do a lot of assessments up front with couples, and they've done some testing to kind of look at their personality and their differences. And in both scenarios, the people were vastly different in their measures of conscientiousness or in industriousness or in orderliness and in functioning as a person. And when you have such drastic differences in a couple, it causes a lot of interpersonal conflict and triggers within the relationship. And the one person is almost always dragging the other person, dragging them to dates, dragging them to functions, dragging them to sort out finances. And it creates this big divide and a lot of challenge. So, in most of the couples that I work with that have this scenario, there's this belief, well, they will change this, they can fix this. So there's this understanding that I've married somebody that's underfunctioning, but I have belief in their potential. So you married their potential or you married the person that you're with? Because none of that is going to be a workable scenario. You have to marry somebody that's at the right level as you, where there's clear compatibility. You've done your due diligence. You know that this is the right person for you. You're not waiting for them to blossom one day. You're not waiting for them to change and to, be trained to basically be a great husband or be a great wife. They have that natural ability right from the get-go. So don't date or marry the underfunctioning person. If you find yourself in a relationship like that, you've got to take a long, hard look as to how much change has actually happened within the relationship. What has actually happened to the person? Are they capable of this transformation? And if there's, progress happening in the relationship, you see some changes happening, that's incredibly positive. But most relationships, our nature is to kind of be the best self that we can be, to almost close the deal and kind of finally nail the person down, and then we relax. And the longest period of time that I've seen a couple actually maintain that facade is 7 years, which is why we have the 7-year itch that we see as an adage of why when people's relationships end, people just can't maintain that facade for much longer. So if you find yourself in this underfunctioning thing, I think you need to take a long, hard look as to whether this relationship is actually a good one for you. And if you're trying too hard to fix it, there are too many things you have to do. There are too many steps. It's feeling like a lot of hard work. That's probably a sign that there's some massive incompatibility here. And you need to take a look at that. So we have assessments that we do where we can actually tell quite quickly if couples have these vast differences within their relationship. And we can pretty quickly see whether that relationship has staying power and whether you can fix the relationship, or whether it's crossed over the rift of no return, or whether there is actually potential to fix this thing. So if you are stuck in this process, you don't know whether you're in an underfunctioning situation, come and do one of these assessments and you can find out what the story is. Okay, take care.